Welcome to Curator City, the podcast from Glasgow Life Museums. I'm Michael McKinnon and this is how it works. In each episode we head out into Glasgow discovering the stories that surround us. Today we're back at the Burrell Collection and we're the second of two episodes dedicated to our Discovering Degas exhibition. Focused on celebrated French artist Edgar Degas, the exhibition brings together more than 50 stunning examples of his work from galleries across the world. And in this episode, we take a look at what Degas' subjects mean in a 21st century context. I'm here with exhibition curator Pippa Stevenson-Sitt. Pippa, welcome to Curator City.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
Pippa, can you start by telling us a bit about yourself and your role in the exhibition?
I'm Curator of European Art for Glasgow Museums, and that involves the Burrell as well as Kelvingrove and basically anywhere that you get a European piece of artwork that's kind of non-British. And my role in the exhibition, I've really had the privilege of co-curating this exhibition along with Frances Fowle, who's one of our Burrell trustees and senior curator at the Scottish National Gallery. And so together with Frances, we developed the themes of the exhibition. We put together the objects that we wanted to borrow from these museums across the world that will help us to tell the story better.
There's been a real buzz about the exhibition. How's it been for you so far and what's the reaction been of visitors?
Oh, it's wonderful. Whenever I have 5 minutes and I'm at the Burrell, I always go down and have a look at the exhibition and kind of, try and soak in the atmosphere and see what people seem to be thinking and saying about it. And from what I've seen so far, people are really enjoying it and taking their time. And what I find amazing is, you spend a long time writing these labels, thinking about how they'll work on the walls. And then you see people actually reading them, and it's really gratifying. And we've had some lovely comments from people and some really good visitor figures. So it's all going really well so far.
It's brilliant. And for yourself, Pippa, it must be a real privilege working with such, a celebrated artist and working with these paintings on a daily basis. How does that feel?
It's been, as I say, a real privilege, a real honour to work on this exhibition. And I suppose one of the unexpected things that it's led for me to kind of understand is Degas in his complexity. So Degas as an artist that had problematic views, Degas as an artist that was linked to things like the transatlantic slave trade, things that I didn't know before I started really focusing on this artist and kind of getting to know him, fairly intimately. So it's been a voyage of discovery for me as a curator as well. I suppose a real wow moment for me was when L'Absente arrived from the Musée d'Orsay. And this is a painting that people who study art history or even, have books about Impressionism or art history lying on their coffee table, you'll flick through that book and you're quite likely to see this painting. So I've kind of studied it from afar for a long time, but then when it was uncrated and lifted very gently and very carefully out of the crate and very slowly, and this picture emerged in front of me, it was just absolutely unreal moment. And there were a few of us where tears were rolling down our cheeks without kind of without thinking this was going to happen. And it was it's a real kind of pinch me moment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Some of Degas' most recognisable work features the ballet, and we start this week with a visit to Scotland's national dance company. Caroline Curry caught up with Maddie Squire from Scottish Ballet to find out more.
So my name's Caroline, I'm the Learning and Access Curator at the Burrell Collection, and I am out and about again. This time I am at the Tramway visiting with Scottish Ballet, and I'm here with Maddie, who is one of the first artists, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you tell us a wee bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Maddie Squire. I'm a dancer and choreographer with Scottish Ballet. I am a first artist, like you said, and I've been in the company since 2014.
So if we move on now to the Degas paintings that feature many pictures of dancers doing various things. And although they were painted in the 19th century, how accurate are they to now, do you think?
I think what he captured really well was the behind the scenes. Things like hands on the hips, people gossiping side stage, people taking off their point shoes, rubbing their feet. It's all things that are so relevant and that a lot of people don't get to see, and all the kind of hard work and like the brutality that like goes into just getting yourself on stage and getting yourself prepped and everything. So I think that element he captures really well.
Can you describe the feeling of waiting in the wings to go out onto stage?
For me, it depends what I'm doing. The moments where I am a little bit nervous, I have like a little pit in my stomach, but there is also filled with so much adrenaline, and there's like a lot of motivation of you've worked so hard up until this point, and there's an element of like, I just want to go out and do it, and I just want to enjoy it. So there's like loads of excitement as well with that. Once you've done it, the kind of like come down after can take quite a while of like, okay, I've just done all of that on stage, and yeah, it's a really special feeling.
And how does it feel to have the whole audience's eyes on you?
Again, depends what I'm doing. If I'm like in a group piece, I kind of, in a weird way, forget I'm being watched, and you're kind of like with your colleagues and you're having fun, and there's like a real teamwork element and unity. And then sometimes when you are on your own and you get more of a moment to kind of play with the audience, it can be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And thinking about the backstage and the bits and bobs that we don't get to see, what does it sound like?
So actually backstage can be quite noisy sometimes, which is odd because with most ballets it's kind of like you guys will just hear the orchestra or the playback or something. But sometimes, you know, there's sets being moved, props being rushed off stage, quick changes going on. But then other times there needs to be kind of like total silence side stage. I mean, there's a few times where we'll be like nattering away and the stage management will be like, guys, keep it down a little bit. Because yeah, like any kind of office workplace, like we're always chatting, you know.
And what does it smell like?
Sometimes bad, depending on how sweaty people get during the piece.
Now, you've seen a lot of the paintings we have in the exhibition. Do you relate to those women?
Yeah, definitely. Again, like what he really like captures is that behind the scenes element, and that what we put out on stage is this kind of perfect, well, hopefully, or if the show goes well, it's this perfect kind of performance and everything, but behind the scenes there's a lot of hard work that's gone into it, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and also he also adds sometimes, you know, the musicians and the other people that are also involved. I think there's one piece where there's some of the mothers are with their daughters as well, which is also very symbolic of what it's like when you go to like a ballet school and your mum drops you off. So yeah, he captures all those things very well.
So some of your audience members, after seeing you guys on stage, may feel quite inspired to have a wee go themselves. Do you have anything at Scottish Ballet that people can take part in?
Yeah, so we have adult classes, which is for different ages and different abilities. They are online and also in person. We also have our dance health team, which do amazing classes for a range of different needs, and you can check that on the website.
Can you sum up in one sentence how dancing makes you feel?
For me, dancing makes me feel very fulfilled, inspired, motivated. I think just like any relationship, it goes through different waves, you know, frustration, complicated feelings of it. But at the end of the day, I always find myself coming back to it and always feel better after I've achieved something by dancing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was lovely to hear more about behind the scenes of Scottish Ballet with Caroline and Maddie there. Pippa, we heard from Maddie talking about behind the scenes. What was Degas able to portray about behind the scenes at the ballet?
Well, I think Degas was really able to bring a level of precision and accuracy to the studies that he did, because he was a real perfectionist, and Degas developed this interest in the ballet, but he was very interested in behind the scenes. So he wasn't just happy kind of, you know, imagining what was happening behind the scenes. He sought actual access to the rehearsals, and he's one of the few artists who was allowed to sit in the rehearsal rooms and watch how these ballerinas performed.
There's real movement that we can see within Degas' paintings in the exhibition. What was it about movement, do you think, that fascinated the artist?
So he was looking to artists of the past, such as Michelangelo, Da Vinci, these great Italian artists, where movement was very key for them as well. So he was really interested in kind of how artists of the past showed movement. I just think movement for Degas was an absolute obsession, and he wasn't happy until he kind of really captured some very masterful movement that showed his ability as a great draftsman.
Well, from movement of the ballet to something more still, Degas was a master of the technique of life drawing. Pippa went to a life drawing class at the Burrell to learn what a class consists of and the varied reasons why life drawing appeals to the participants today.
So my name's Pippa Stevenson-Sitt. I'm the Curator of European Art for Glasgow Museums and here at the Burrell, and I'm co-curator of Discovering Degas. And as part of the exhibition, one element that we wanted to include kind of from the start is really focusing on Degas' life drawing and his techniques, how he was a real draftsman above anything else. So we reached out to Hugo here to facilitate this session. I'm just going to pass over to Hugo.
Hi everyone. So I think I know pretty much most of you here, and you know me, so you know how I run the sessions, and that our approach is mostly about drawing in the practice rather than an academical approach. So what we wanted to achieve with the poses today is capturing moments from a period of time. We're going to be focusing on bathing, cleaning and washing. We got Maya, who's our model today, who's going to be doing a series of poses. We'll do some short ones to warm you up, but mostly we'll be looking at the longer poses. So Maya, whenever you're ready, we're going to start you off.
Russell, do you come to these life drawing sessions very often?
Yeah, I've been coming to Hugo's sessions since the beginning, since he was down in Partick. And I've always done life drawing, and I teach life drawing as well. So it's nice to come to someone else's class, and Hugo provides all the energy in the room. You can just sit and draw, you know what I mean? Because normally that's my job, to make sure that everyone's happy and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it's really great, and it's nice that it's themed with Degas this time, so I'm a huge fan of Degas.
You're an artist yourself?
Yeah, I'm full-time. I do stuff for like games and screen. You never really get away from needing to observe the figure if you're doing storyboards and things like that, you know. So it's nice to have that kind of, plus it's pleasurable.
It's Christy, and I am unemployed at the moment. I just quit my job recently because I wanted to just try out some new things and I have some time to get back into doing art and stuff, so yeah.
Why did you come to this session? What was it that attracted you to it?
I had done a couple of other life drawing sessions. I think Hugo ran the first one, but when I went, it was just really fun. I love that it forces you to just be really expressive and not worry too much about getting it perfect.
Hi, my name's Sarah Brown and I'm a jeweller, and I was applying for Glasgow School of Art, and I was told that I needed to learn life drawing, so I looked it up and found a place at the Botanics, and I've been doing more drawing at Glasgow Kelvin Grove as well.
My name's Josh Elliott. I love the life drawing scene here. There's so many more classes available, like just almost any night of the week it feels like you could find something fairly local. But what I really like about life drawing is, you see people every day. Like you can't not conjure a person's face in your mind when you close your eyes, right? It's like the most natural, normal thing. But then when you sit to draw, it's so challenging to get everything right. It's so simple to draw a face, and then you realize, well, I don't know how big noses are. What is going on?
I'm Maya. I was a life model today.
And how long have you been a life model for?
I've been doing it for about 2 years.
How do you hold a pose like that, for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes even longer?
I think the hardest thing is the brain thing of trying to stay still and trying to kind of not question yourself and fidget and trying to make the muscles relax in a situation that isn't for most people relaxing, but once you kind of get used to it, it becomes like that because you can just focus on your breathing and look at a spot. I think sometimes you feel because your muscles shake when they're tense, and sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm not doing it right because my muscles are shaking slightly. If people wanted to draw something perfectly still, they could draw something that wasn't alive.
So would you say you enjoy posing?
Yeah, that's kind of the joy for me. The thing I like about it is kind of coming up with interesting poses and using my body creatively, because I have an artistic practice separate to it.
Just wondering what kind of goes through your mind as you're holding the pose. Do you think of specific things to try and stop you from moving?
I usually meditate, so I kind of go into a weird trance if it's a long pose. If it's 20 minutes, I'm in space, I don't know where I am. I'm just like looking at a spot. For the short poses, I tend to think about, like 2-minute poses, I think about like, okay, what am I going to do for the next pose?
10 more seconds now. Can we give Maya a big round of applause?
Great to hear about the life drawing class there. Pippa, how did you find that?
Yeah, it was great. It was really nice to be there and kind of see how people were really engaging kind of with the session and kind of losing themselves in the class, and to see, you know, kind of sneakily see some of the wonderful pictures that they'd drawn at the end as well.
What do you think it was that brought Degas' work to life?
Well, I think with Degas, it was the little details. It was the highlights on the nose or the cheek or the collarbone. It was the little elements that kind of add the realism, so narrative details. For example, on one of our pastels of the laundresses, he's just added a little gold ring to one of the laundresses. There's these little kind of hints, suggestions of narrative that he adds that make them real. You know, they're more than just artworks. They're characters to interpret.
It's lovely, that idea of small details as well that people can pick out in the exhibition. That's really nice. Well, we're nothing without our visitors here at Glasgow Museums, and they've turned out in their numbers for Discovering Degas. Laura Bald headed out into the exhibition floor to speak with some of our visitors and get their opinions.
So I'm standing in the exhibition now with one of our gallery assistants, Stuart. Hi, Stuart.
Hello, Laura. How are you?
I'm very good. So, Stuart, you've been working in the exhibition. How have our visitors reacted to the paintings, to the space? What have they been telling you?
Well, overall, the reaction of the visitors when they come in, immediately they're very subdued. There's a quietness. They come into the gallery and they feel the quietness. And if people have been chatting and there's a lot of people in, it can go like that very quickly. And then if somebody starts to whisper, they all start whispering again. Yeah. And as they go round and looking at the paintings, you can see them being really drawn into it. And I'm thinking, are they standing too close to that frame? But no, they go right in and they change their glasses and they look at the brush strokes and everything, and they talk about the colours. All of them talk about the colours. And they say how vibrant they are. But I don't see the colours as being vibrant at all. No.
So you've maybe a different approach to Degas than others.
Yeah. I see them as being very subdued. Is it because they've faded over time or something? I don't know. And some of the paintings as well, as I'm going round, even with my glasses on, they're not fully in focus. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think Degas had that kind of hazy, almost dreamlike quality to some of his works too. I find it really interesting that you feel people are sort of subdued when they come in here. Do you think it's just being wowed by the art, you know, and that sort of close looking, or is it the space itself that's great?
The space itself, compared to the rest of the building, the ceiling is quite low, and the lighting in here is very subdued, and the colours that have been used are quite dark, as dark blues, reds and dark greens. So that certainly makes me want to be quiet and pay attention. People pay attention in here.
Can I ask you what your name is?
Hello, I'm Caroline.
Hi, Caroline. So tell me, why did you come to the Degas exhibition today?
I came because I'm a big fan of Degas. I have a book about him and I just love his paintings, and that he's like not the typical impressionist.
And what's been your favourite painting that you've seen today in the exhibition?
Probably the one at the beginning with the two ballet dancer.
It's certainly amazing with the light and how he captures the ballet. Do the ballet scenes, are those your favourite ones?
Yes, I've been dancing ballet too, so I'm really very fond of those pictures.
So you can very much relate to those ballerinas doing those really incredible, difficult poses.
I'm actually not that good, but I just love to see also the costumes, which are so great.
Can I ask what your name is?
Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Hi.
So why have you come today to the Degas exhibition?
Well, because he's an impressionist painter, so they would naturally attract me, and my wife was aware that it was on, and what she did was make me come. She actually made me put it in the diary and get here, because I would end up working, and whereas these things have so much value in our life that she's quite right to say, stop working, come and look at this. But I generally love coming and watching the impressionists. We were in the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam a couple of weeks ago, so to have something like this where you don't have to travel, so it wasn't a hard sell from my wife. It's just, she just had to say, now's the day, we're getting in the car and we're going.
What's been your favourite work that you've seen so far today?
The Absinthe, because I've seen that before, and of course this is what you stand and look at and you think, where have I seen this? How come I've seen this? Is it because I'm so familiar with it because we've seen pictures or posters or whatever, or have I actually ever seen this before? And what I find coming into an exhibition, there is usually one painting somewhere, and it's riveting, it's capturing. You get into that flow, that state where you're lost. All the rest of it becomes immaterial, and it's almost like, well, that's it, can we go now?
Hi, welcome to the Degas exhibition. What's your name, can I ask?
It's Judy.
Hi, Judy. So what made you want to come to the Degas exhibition today?
I've come with friends who live in Glasgow, and we're here visiting, and they suggested that we come. And I was delighted to do that, yeah.
And did you know of Degas before you came?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love his pictures, yeah.
Yeah, so a big fan.
Yes.
So what's been your favourite work that you've seen today when you've gone around the exhibition?
Strangely enough, it's this one here, which is apparently in the main collection.
Yeah, the rehearsal, so it's up the stairs in our main gallery.
Right, okay.
Have you seen it yet today?
No, not yet. No.
You'll have to go up and have a look at
Will
it.
do.
And are you a fan of the ballet scenes?
Yes, I think they're the most beautiful.
What is it that appeals about them?
I think it's the colour and the fact that you can almost feel the fabric. Yes,
yeah.
Very delicate. I prefer them to the darker pictures.
It was great to hear some of our visitors' reactions to the exhibition there with Laura Bald. Pippa, what do you think the legacy of this exhibition is?
Well, I hope it's really led them to understand Degas in a different way. He wasn't just a painter of ballerinas, he was a painter of the circus, he was a painter of racehorses. You know, he had some very interesting ways of depicting movement, etc. So I hope that people understand Degas just a little bit better.
It was a really rich experience for sure coming to the exhibition. Just finally, Pippa, what's been your highlight working on the exhibition?
You know what, it was probably during the install again, when one of Degas' bronze sculptures came out of the crate, and I was looking at this sculpture with our 3D conservator Katie, and we were looking at it closely, and I saw a fingerprint of Degas on the bronze, and it was just that moment that I just thought, my goodness, that's actually Degas' fingerprint. It was just like a kind of a time travel moment, almost, thinking, wow, and just imagining Degas putting his finger on that very piece of bronze.
Amazing. Well, that's a great way to finish up, and a huge thanks to our curious guest, Pippa.
It's been a pleasure.
This week we've been to Scotland's national dance company, Scottish Ballet. Then Pippa attended a life drawing class. Finally, Laura caught up with some of our visitors at the exhibition itself. Discovering Degas runs until the end of September at the Burrell Collection, but if you didn't have the chance to visit our exhibition, there are several of Degas' key works which are on permanent display, and you can see them whenever you like, so do come and visit us. See you next time on Curious City.